All right, we're starting off. What is the most important influence on child development? Okay, let's let's see what Tom Weisner has to say.
What is the most important thing in child development? This is something we should really care about because we all want to improve the well-being and the lives of kids. So what are the most important things in child development? So I'd like you to help me to get started. So think of a child. Really do it. Like bring up a child in your mind's eye. Close your eyes. Think of that child. You got it?
You have to close your eyes to think of a child. Come on. Who are you talking to? And more importantly, why are you out of breath? Why are you out of breath? Okay?
Now if you could do something, the most important thing to influence the life of that child, what would you do? When I've asked this question to Western audiences, there's a whole litany of important things. Provide attachment security, good nutrition, provide it with good playmates, stimulation, lots of stimulation, perhaps a religion.
Okay, those are two words you probably shouldn't say with associated children, or, back to back. Playmate and stimulation. Wow, this guy did it.
Religious or spiritual pathway, which will be important to the child. Um, Provide a trust fund so that the child will have resources as it grows older. Some of the parents in the audience mention other things.
Resources, guys, because trust funds is the only resource, guys. Yeah. Forget that, humans are the ultimate currency and that the earth is to be overcome. Yeah. No, forget that. No, you just want to create a trust fund. Amazing.
Things like, it's the toilet training, just get me through the toilet training, or get my kid to sleep, or they bring the homework sheets home and then they get lost. So there are a lot of things that we think of as important things in child development. And although all those things are important, and of course there's no one thing that would be the only important thing.
Yes, there is to bring your child up with truth. Whatever it is that you're going to say, if it's not that, then you're a liar.
None of these, in my view, are the most important thing. The most important thing you could do would be to decide or think about where in the world is that child growing up. All the things that we think of about the child depend on the context in which
Oh, of course, he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait. He could not wait to show you this.
the child and its family are living. What family, what neighborhood, what community, what nation state will that child's life pathways be determined in? Most of the things we think
Um, right, just like moral relativism.
of, nutrition, having a trust fund, that religious pathway. Is there one religious pathway? Are there many? What does that religious pathway entail?
No, there's only one way, and you're just ignoring it. You're smashed. Look at you. You're smashed. Okay, you have your little microphone that they provided. You're so nervous. You're out of breath. What are you doing? What are you reaching for in that pocket? All right, it's nothing.
All of these things depend on the child in some particular context. Most of us, when we do this, and many of you probably brought up in your mind a child sort of floating in space. Now, for analytic or research reasons, it might be useful to think of a child as an autonomous person, but that child does not exist. The only children that exist are children in the world who really live there, and the importance of keeping the context in mind needs to be
Okay, what's this guy talking about? I think I lost him. Just like his lost eyes. Look.
brought out more strongly in how we think about kids and how we try to improve their well-being. I first saw this when, as a young anthropologist, I went to Kenya. I
Of course,
was studying the
of course, boasting. Yes, he knows what he's talking about, guys. Look, he took a picture of a bunch of kids. Amazing.
effects of urban migration on children there. I've subsequently done many research projects to try to improve the
I've
lives
done many research projects. Amazing.
of kids, or at least understand that in different places around the world and in the US. And when you go to other parts of the world or you know people from there, you see the power of contextual and cultural differences on children's lives. By learning about the rest of the world,
Yes, you do. You learn about the conditioning, and then you probably incorporate it into your think tank to, it's engineered, okay? This guy is, if not directly, indirectly, um, pulling the strings behind the whole social engineering, okay? Of course, children are the key, and he's about to tell you more about why.
world will understand better how to take care of kids here and everywhere.
Here and everywhere, guys, because it's not just here. This guy wants to take care of kids everywhere. Even though this guy knows that depending where they are in the world, they have different conditioning and influences. And this guy doesn't believe in there's one thing that's absolutely important. No, this guy believes that, oh, well, it could be anything. It could be anything. And it couldn't possibly be as, divine and sacred as, raising your child to stand with the truth on the path, on the way to life. That's right. No, this guy wants you to believe that your child is probably in danger somehow, and you know you need to give him the best, give your child the best opportunity that you didn't have. Basically, to be more, to be to see your child as a slightly more full vessel, but no, you're raising them to be shells of people, okay?
The way, when we think about kids as autonomous individuals, it's a way of thinking that we've learned. And it's no accident that we've learned that. For one thing, we live in a weird society.
Oh,
Weird is an
really?
ironic
This guy couldn't wait to show you this picture, I'm sure. What is this? A goat? Of course it is. And it's a weird, Western educated, industrialized, rich, democratic, what? Brainwashing method? Yes, it is very weird. And sadly, this child is probably, the subject of one of your weird experiments, right? Oh, and yes, it involves a goat.
but useful acronym for Western educated
Look at how
industrial.
nervous this guy is. Can't even say his own presentation right. I mean, is it the first time he's publicly, presented something like this? Who knows?
Rich and democratic societies. Now, about 12% of the world live in such a society, and most of the research that we hear about
Or does this guy know that, people that he wants to kiss up to are watching? Yes, that is probably the case.
and the experts that we hear about and the context we're in come from other weird societies. So we have learned to bracket the context out and just think about the child as an individual in a weird society.
Wow, you couldn't have said it better. A child in a weird society. Wow. This guy looks like he wants to feed. He's up for another feeding. And what? Oh, yes, of the future. And what? Oh, the children. Yes, the children. It's about the children.
Research is in the same way, mostly from weird societies. In psychology, for example, over 90% of the research studies are done in weird societies with samples from those parts of the world. If you're an undergraduate in a college or university in the West, like some of you here, you are 4,000 times more likely to be in a research study than a randomly selected person from the rest of the world.
Is that supposed to blow me away, shock me? 4,000 times more likely to be used in an experiment. What are you saying?
What if we take account of the other 88%? Because by doing that, we'll see the importance of context much more clearly.
Right, we
Fortunately,
will
there's a
trust him,
wonderful
guys.
scientific research literature to help us do that. There are also
Oh yes, look at all these wonderful books. Look at all these wonderful books, right? Look how much they've helped to shape the world to a better place. Yes, they have.
increasingly people that we know who have grown up and lived in those societies, and we can go and visit them to see the importance of this. Now, even weird societies are diverse in context, and the rest of the world way more so. And so you can't possibly see or understand all of the differences, but I'm going to mention a few that I have seen myself and that offer an important and useful.
There's only one difference. Those who raise their children to uh, love the world and have their virtue and their value based on how the world loves them back, or
Contrast.
you raise them to have the love of their creator, okay? And obviously you have turned away from God. Yes, you have.
To weird societies. One is the importance of social responsibility and collaborative learning and social
All these fancy words, collaborative learning, they mean nothing.
intelligence that you see in so many cultures and so many children around the world. Uh, Unfortunately, the parent of one of the children you see in that slide from a rural school in Kenya has died. And after lunch, all of the children are going to take those sticks of wood, which each of them have brought a few to school that morning. They're going to put the wood on their heads. They're going to walk to the child's home, pay their condolences, and bring the wood, which is needed to prepare for the funeral that's coming in the next few days.
Are they talking about a burning? This guy's just beating around the bush. I mean, he presented it as a sad story, but I mean, present the whole thing. It might have more of an effect. Okay.
It's phenomenal the amount of apprenticeship, adult-child contextual learning that you see around the world. Another is multiple caretaking of children. Kids are raised by a lot of different people.
Oh, here we go. It takes a village. Is this where he's going with it? Of course, that's where he's going. Most likely. And the good old government can do that. It's probably what's going to say. More regulation, I bet.
Socially distributed. Children are very securely attached, but they're attached to a social a setting, a family and other members that help take care of them. They're likely to be part of a community of care. Unfortunately, large numbers of children in the world live in very harsh environments.
Right. So this is your photograph of a harsh environment. Yeah. Do you mean slums? Is that what you're saying? I think that's what you're trying to say. There's multiple conditions that the human, like this guy, can live in, and they would probably be more of a man than you will ever be, okay? And just because he doesn't have a fancy iPhone or, Wi-Fi right here in this chair doesn't mean anything to him, right? And he's right. He's right. Because it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just dust. It'll wash away and wither, okay? The only thing that continues is the life, right? This guy right here, and this guy, and this guy, all right? They continue. They walk over the bridge, right? No problem. Following this dude. He's leading the way, okay? And these kids could care less about their supposed horrendous conditions, right? Because fine, surround them in lavish neighborhoods and corner stores and a quickie mart and a super mega site over here. That that's living, guys. This guy, he knows what he's missing and he's pissed.
Oppression and uncertainty and deep poverty and inequality and toxic environments and chaotic.
This guy's losing his mind. He's you know, he blew a gasket over. He's more offended for these people's condition than this person. This person doesn't care. This person doesn't care. Okay, and um, it's all about you knowing your place in the scheme of life. Okay, you can have everything or have nothing, and it means nothing. Okay, it's all in how you uh are in charge of your currency, the currency of the majestic temple that you embody, and are here to witness the ways of the world in overcoming, as these people do. Okay, learn a lesson from these people. These people overcome. You just complain. You complain and you derive ways to really impose a way of life for these people. These people, these people are living. Okay, they have a different outlook. And even if you wanted these people to have an ambition to, make their first million at age 20, or to, you know, who cares? They probably don't even want to build a school, which is something that the dude that's talking wants you to believe. That these people want the infrastructure that we think is progress. Okay, no, it's not, because these people live like this, so we can live like that. Okay, it's not an accident.
Family situations that often result. Girls' lives are likely to diverge from boys as boys and girls get older, say after early childhood. So the way girls' lives play out vary, and the way boys' lives vary, but they're likely to be more divergent and differentiated than we find it here.
Oh
The
well, this
institu-
guy just might have just blown. This guy just said that after the age of 7, I can't. I think it was 8, 7 or 8. Um, boys and girls, become more differentiated. Distinct from from the other. Okay, so that means that usually they don't care up until that age. Yeah, they'll play with dolls and who cares? They'll be interested in whatever. You know, just um guide them. That's what it is. You're supposed to guide them. Okay? And yet we're told that, listen, a person can decide, a child will decide, and you must abide, right? You must obey to what they identify with at any age. Forget 7 or 8, no, any age. And they will take your children away if you don't. Like this guy will show up at your door.
institutions that children are living in and will grow into are different. Marriage may be collectively or group arranged. Inheritance may only go to boys or may go to older children, or that trust fund may not be available if you're a younger born child compared to an older. Children are more likely to grow up in large extended families or in single mother households that are very isolated and where there's a very harsh environment facing many children.
Wow, why don't you have a chart for that? Okay, why don't you have a picture? Why don't you have a picture of desolation, as you did, to show how desolate and poor, some place in Africa where you're doing experiments on kids is. Why don't you show a picture of the, horror and the toxic, what what did you say? I don't, the word you used to describe it, a single mother's environment, right? It's not good. And this guy is just gonna brush it off. Yeah.
So, bring up the child again. Let's do it again. think of the child again. Where is the child living? What is the world in which the child is living in? And perhaps the most important thing, what kind of child or person is desirable and considered morally important in that community?
Oh, he just said it. Morally important. Wow. Who decides that?
That is one of the most important things about child development.
Or what?
Well-being is the ability of a child to actively participate in the activities that that society thinks is important and desirable. That
Right.
a
Wow. He just said it. He just full on said it. What's important is for you to guide. This guy just said it. What's important is for you to guide your child into what society deems acceptable and worthy of working working on. Wow.
to help children around the world, when we think about this topic, bring up in your mind the context, the whole world around the child, and we'll do much better at improving the lives of children everywhere. Thanks very much.
What? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I missed something. But this guy didn't say anything. I probably missed it. It's probably way over my head. Yeah, that's what it is. It's way over my head, and this guy just leapfrogged over a bunch of topics without saying anything. Maybe that's why he's so nervous, because he knows he's saying nothing and he has to make people believe he's saying something. Okay, look at him. That's somebody emulating, trying to portray pride. He's trying to come across as confident and like he knows something. But he's a shell. He's a shell of a man. Look, I don't care who this person is, but they're talking lies and they're misrepresenting the value of children, because this guy is a pirate. He sold his soul to work and experiment on children. Why? So he can control the world. Look, look at him. That's a proud man that wants to control the world. Because he didn't say anything. What is the most important influence on child development? This guy just said the most important thing for a child's development is their surroundings. Wow, so shocking. And what the what the influence its surrounding influences deem as valuable. Wow. So basically, you are traumatized to conforming, and otherwise, no, you're probably aborted, or at the very least, marginalized, ridiculed, oppressed, forgotten. But no, no child left behind. So no, they won't forget you. They'll forget your parents, but no, not the child, because the child can be split, fractured, made to do in your image, like this guy. Okay, I'll stop it there.